In Consumer Corner, we take a look at trends creating a buzz online in China. On today's show, we'll find out who are the major purchasers of China's high-end cigarettes and see what Chinese internet users have to say about it. Cigarette smoking has been wasting tons of taxpayer dollars in China. Government officials are literally burning their way through thousands of dollars with every pack they smoke. They aren't just smoking cigarettes from a grocery store. They're smoking cigarettes tailor-made to government officials. Of course, these cigarettes aren't made any differently from other ones, but they're advertised in a way that makes it seem like they are. They're made to seem like higher quality smokes, so they can justify having government officials spend a fortune on them. In what seems to be a stab at curbing corruption, there's been a recent ban on having officials smoke in public. The announcement also forbids government conferences from providing the cigarettes for officials. This is not the first time that the Chinese government has put restrictions on public consumption of cigarettes. Back in 2012, the government had already forbidden the purchase of high-end cigarettes, baijiu, and gifts through public funds. But until now, the government's purchase of them will still not be prohibited. In June of last year, iFeng.com reported that a state-owned Chinese tobacco company had created a new luxury cigarette. They were calling it the Chinese Dream, named after Xi Jinping's speech. The shiny box of cigarettes is priced at an astonishing 1,000 yuan, or about $160 per pack. In China, a carton of cigarettes priced above $160 would be considered a high-end one. This Chinese Dream cigarette has broken the record high. Later, the company manager told Chinese media that it's made by company employees and the company never plans to sell it on the market publicly. But Chinese media still doubts that it's made for government officials exclusively. In March 2012, following the government's announcement on cutting down on public consumption, the State Tobacco Monopoly Bureau of China then announced a limit on high-end cigarette prices priced higher than 1,000 yuan, or about $160 per carton. But ironically enough, the policy only helped out sales. Luxury cigarettes were then priced just below that mark. This made government officials more comfortable buying them. Data from China IRN shows that since 2012 to today, China's high-end cigarettes have seen 200 to 300% increases. In 2012, the annual value of cigarette production has exceeded $300 billion. High-end cigarettes occupy 20% of that figure. That's a huge chunk of the pie. As a monopoly, tobacco companies enjoy astonishingly high profit margins. China's tobacco companies usually can have high profit margins of over 70%. In the retail market, this rate could soar to over more than 100%. Another set of data could also reflect on the country's rapidly increasing high-end cigarette retail market. Fiscal data from the State Tobacco Monopoly Bureau shows that between 2000 and 2012, China's tobacco companies saw an average increase of 15% annually, but its annual production volume only increased 3.5% each year. This makes it obvious that high-end cigarettes are where the big money's being made. Moreover, during the first 3 months in 2013, high-end cigarettes dominated over 75% of the total sales volume. By comparison, this rate in 2007 was only about 30% at that time. Due to the central government's anti-corruption campaign, local governments are now purchasing high-end cigarettes through more secretive channels. Previously, local governments would buy them from stores, but now they're playing it safe by getting them directly from the factory. They can also hide spending by putting it down as part of their restaurant expenses. Government officials buying high-end cigarettes also have gotten Chinese net users talking. One Weibo user wrote, quote, "I would say any pack of cigarettes priced above $4 is part of corruption. Look at foreign cigarette brands. Do they dare offer expensive cigarettes to their people? Look at our tobacco companies. They're using less than 3 yuan on raw material for making over 1,000 yuan cigarettes. Who will buy it except government officials?" Another Weibo user agreed, quote, "Even primary level public servants are smoking luxury cigarettes. How is it possible with their meager salaries?" Another Weibo user sarcastically wrote, quote, "I cannot imagine how it will heavily affect a high-end cigarette or a baijiu brand if they only forbid government officials from purchasing them. What a funny scene." Finally, a Weibo user concluded, quote, "The most crucial thing here is to make government finance more transparent. If they allowed the public to supervise government officials, then I believe no one would dare cross the line." Buying high-end cigarettes and baijiu is considered routine for government officials. They don't just buy it because they like it. They do it as a way to trade gifts that are needed for making deals. If they really want to curb high-end cigarette sales, they should deal with the source of the problem, the factories. If they wanted to deal with corruption as a whole, then demanding transparency with government assets would be a help.